Hello and welcome to another hacking video. I'm Ed. In this video, we're going to look at the LDAPNightmare Python script that was released earlier this year. And if the server is not patched, obviously the domain is vulnerable to takeover. And this POC that I'm using is obviously the one that's available on GitHub. It doesn't have much to it. But I did want to show you that it does look for a specific account. If it doesn't find the account, then it errors out, and I'll show you you can modify the actual script to look for an account. But what's more concerning is even though there's no exploit if the server's patched, it still gives you a lot of information regarding the domain, um, you know, internal IP and the site name, etc. Now, for some, it might not be an issue, but for an attacker, it's valuable information. They know what the internal IP is if they have the external IP, and that can give them an extra foothold, with their reconnaissance and that. So I want to show you here. I modified the script because I was trying to see if I could get a reverse shell. But the default is administrator. Now, most companies rename administrator or they remove administrator. So if you run it with the default, and I'm going to run it now, you'll see it's going to connect to my IP, and this is my lab IP, obviously. And it's going to come back and say error, no such user. The account doesn't exist. Okay, so we can modify the script. Maybe you can call a CSV file with no names. If you know the company name, you could, figure out is it first name, last name, initial, surname, etc., etc. So in the script here on this line where the parameter for the account is added, I've got a dummy user called user1 that I'm going to use. And I'm going to save the script and we'll go back here. Let me just clear the screen and let's rerun it again. Obviously, it's going to pass now with user1 because it's an account that exists. Now, we've obviously specified a domain name. Now, this is not an internal IP, this is an external IP. So if your DCs are published to the internet and are open and not secured, for example, if you're connecting to a vendor and you've opened up everything and you haven't closed down that only the vendor's IP can connect to your IP, etc., you're obviously going to get back information. There's the domain controller, there's the internal IP, there's the site name. Now, based on this, we can obviously take this attack further. But I don't like the fact that even though it says fail to trigger the vulnerability, you still get too much information coming back from this. So just be aware that even though the vulnerability is patched, my servers are patched, obviously to test this. Prior to patching it, I ran it, it was vulnerable to this exploit. Is make sure that your servers are not open on the internet. Make sure that it's locked down to only what vendor or what site, etc., can access it. And don't open all ports to the internet because something on that machine will pick up that it's open if you run an nmap scan. And 9 out of 10 times that way you can find a vulnerability or a way in and continue with your exploit. So I just wanted to show you the exploit obviously doesn't work if the server's patched, which is correct, but it does give you some information because I didn't know what the DC name is here. I know what the domain name is. So obviously I've got this. Again, this is because I had an internal user. I knew what the domain name is, but for an attacker, there's many ways to try and find what the Active Directory domain is, etc. Possibly they've got in through a phishing attempt, and that way they can get the information. You can get the domain name. I mean, you don't have to be an admin on the box to do that. So be safe out there, lock down your environment, make sure that your firewalls don't open your environment to any, and ensure that you patch Windows updates to keep your environment safe. If you're running Exchange servers that are not patched and an attacker gets in through this kind of patch, or exploit, sorry, then you've pretty much got your mail that's going to be taken down, or data is going to be exfiltrated, and you're going to basically have a domain takeover. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for watching.